Article 5 is entitled Union Business. This is the article that stewards will use when they're getting authorization to be able to pursue a grievance of a member on the job site. Things to keep in mind in particular on this are any requests for time, for the use of your time, need to be made in advance, and you need to make sure when you're getting the time request that you're able to also do the work that you're normally assigned. This also pertains to the use of employer premises. Again, requests for the use of space in your building need to be made in advance, and they need to be kept in mind that no disruptions to the operations of the workplace can take place. So just be a little bit wary of that. With grievance processing, you do have time off with pay to process grievances and arbitrations. This article also pertains to paid leaves of absence for union business, other union business such as training and negotiations, and employer provision of information to NAGE. NAGE receives information from the Commonwealth for all, as part of our contract for all union members. So that is provided under this article as well. And orientation is specified in this article. One of the limitations of this is that at each agency we're allowed 1/2 hour per orientation to be able to meet with new members or prospective members and be able to explain the operations of the union to them and what their membership means. For the most part, I'm trying to put stuff on the web to be able to orient folks. So I would ask our stewards to always meet and greet new members to your work site, and advise them to go to our website and look for information on the website. So let me turn this over to David Young to talk about this article from the agency's perspective.
Okay, very good lead-in to what I have to say, Greg. I am, of course, speaking from the management perspective. I've had 40 years of experience representing management in labor relations. I've worked for 10 commissioners and 2 mayors. Now, why do I say this? Within a week or two after I started a new job or there was a new administration, one or more managers would cross my threshold asking the same question. How much time does a union steward have off to do union business? This was a perennial issue for management. Article 5 provides that union stewards are permitted to have time off for the investigation and processing of grievances. Requests for such leave should be made in advance. Some considerations to this. A union steward is permitted reasonable time off. Reasonable is judged by the circumstances. You are still responsible for performing your job as an employee. Your manager does need to know when you are on union business. You cannot be unaccounted for. When you wear the hat of union steward, you are an equal to management. You cannot be denied your status as a union steward. For example, rather recently, management tried to deny a union steward the right to represent a fellow employee in the same unit because they called it a conflict of interest. This is not true. When you take off the employee hat and put on the union steward hat, you are a steward, not an employee. But I caution you most seriously, do not abuse this privilege and authority. Your manager has a right to know that you are on union business. And as I said, you are still responsible for your work as an employee. Personally, I have tossed union officials out of the workplace when they were disrupting Commonwealth operations. I have denied union leave to stewards who walked the workplace soliciting grievances rather than processing and investigating grievances. Make yourself valuable to management. Call pending issues to management's attention and try to resolve disputes. Know your collective bargaining agreement. During my years as a management representative, there were stewards I would welcome into my office because they knew the collective bargaining agreement and would try to resolve potential disputes. Then there were the stewards I dreaded. They would argue, threaten, and attack management. I knew this issue was headed to the lawyers. If you have any questions about your status as a union steward and time off for union business, please contact your officials at Mage.
Very good, thank you. Richard, would you talk about it from the legal perspective?
Thank you. Thank you, David, for your summary of, from the manager's point of view, of the role of the steward in an agency. I will tell you that I once was a steward myself, and it is absolutely correct that the management needs to know where you are and what you're up to. Also, when I was a steward, I took great care to make sure that my regular work for the agency was up to date when I was working on union business. I did not want to use or be accused of using my union role as a reason for not doing my regular job. It generally worked out very well. The management knew who I was and what I was up to when I was working on union business. There are a couple of issues that do come up. One is the matter of having union meetings. It is true that the contract does allow the use of the employer's premises for things like union business, union meetings on off-duty time. For example, we would hold on occasion lunch meetings in an unused room at the agency, and there's never any problem with that. David, in his comments, alluded to the granting of time off with pay for the processing of grievances. There is one little twist, which is sometimes the union has occasion to file what's called charges of an unfair labor practice with the State Department of Labor Relations. The contract does not provide paid time off to stewards for the process of the unfair labor practice charges. That's something that does occasionally come up. The manager will raise that, and they are correct when they say a steward does not get paid time off for the processing of unfair labor practice charges. So generally we have the paid union staff deal with those issues. One other aspect of union business that occasionally comes up is agencies are required to make available a bulletin board for the union to use in the workplace. The union is allowed to post material on the bulletin board. It can't be inflammatory or anything like that. This is something that I think in practice people largely forget about because the web is available and the union can always post whatever it wants on its own website without having to deal with the restrictions of the bulletin board. Also, it's important to note that stewards are permitted one day off a year for training, and we at Age do that. We offer the training. We try to do it every year. And the stewards can come to a central location and receive training and information from the union leadership. And we think that's very valuable as a way to keep the stewards up to date regarding new developments. One last thing that neither David nor Greg has mentioned is, of course, practically every workplace in the state system has email. Occasionally, we run into issues where a union steward is disciplined or threatened to discipline for the use of the employer's email system to conduct union business. We had an arbitration not too long ago where a union steward was suspended for 3 days for using the state email system to send an email pertaining to union business. We took that to arbitration, and the arbitrator ruled that the suspension had to be reversed because the union steward hadn't said anything illegal or inflammatory or anything of that nature in her email. And also, the agency did permit use of its email system for personal matters such as bake sales and trying to set up lunch dates and things like that. So that case stands for the proposition that stewards can't be prohibited from using the state's email system for union business, but I would caution you that when you do that, you and your role as a union steward, use your head. And don't say anything inflammatory, obscene, or harshly critical of the management of using the email system, because the email system does belong to the state, and the state does have the right, both by contract, collective bargaining agreement, and by law, to look at emails that are being sent through the system. So I would just caution you, be careful when you're using the state's email system.
Let me broaden that to also add, when you're using your computer and you're on the internet, do make sure that you are doing this only for business purposes, because all internet access is monitored by the Commonwealth, and you have policies in place that prohibit you from using the internet for other things. So just be very, very careful and mindful of your use of the internet and your use of company property. Thank you.